can hear records on my demo. Did y'all boys not get the memo? I do not stay at the What's going on? What's going on? Houston, Texas, H-Town. This is Soapbox Heroes. I'm so glad to be here with you guys today. So glad to be here with you guys today on this quarantine day. Well, it's a quarantine day for some people. Seems as if some states, some governors, some places are deciding to go ahead and start to reopen things. They want to get to reopening things. I read in Georgia, they want to reopen things. Even some parts of Texas, they're talking about reopening things. And my question is, the confidence after scaring the bejesus out of us for a few months now, for at least a month now, after scaring the bejesus out of us, how do they expect things to go back to normal? Going back to the gym, pumping some iron. Let me pump you up. How many people are going to feel confident going out there and doing that? Another thing that we are going to get to find out is, what is the real line of delineation between politicians and bureaucrats that say they do not yet want to open up the economy? Are they going to say, I don't want to open up the economy, while opening the economy? We are going to get to see that strange dichotomy of politicians that say, you know what, I really don't want to open up the economy. And at the same time, start motioning and doing things to open up the economy. I want to see if you how did that song go? Walk it like you talk it, or if you just talk it because it sounds good to some. That is the question. That is the question. And we're going to be talking about that today. You know what? We're actually going to go back a little bit. I've been hearing these different campaign messages, and I've been hearing it on social media. People saying, this is who is responsible for not paying attention to coronavirus. And lately, I am hearing campaign ads. I'm hearing campaign ads from both sides talking about the response. I'm hearing quotes and things that were said at the time, when coronavirus was a novel idea to us here in America. And we're going to break it down a little bit, you guys. We got a tendency of breaking things down. So we're going to go back and we are going to see what politician said what. We're going to break it down. I don't want no hyperbole. We're not going to do no Facebook meme understanding today. We're not going to go off of, what we heard. We're going to really go ahead and put the pieces together so we can know what's going on moving forward, because this is going to be the baseline. This is going to be a springboard of what politicians are going to be running on here in the future, especially the visible future, the present future, right now after this pandemic or coming, as we weave through it or go through it or stay weighed down by it. These are the topics that we definitely will be talking about. So we're going to just press the rewind button real quick, and we are definitely going to go back and we are going to see who said what before the fingers get to pointing, because we know the finger pointing is already here. The finger point is already here. You know what you hear simultaneously. You know what it reminds me of? It's like when you walk in your kid's room and they doing something wrong, and both your kids is doing something wrong, and your kids look at you and they say, "He did it." They point to each other. "How you doing, Kavina? How are you? Long time no see." "Betty Boo, what's going on with you?" "What's going on with you? Long time no see, Kavina." But yeah, it's like when you walk in the room and your kids are doing something wrong. That's what the whole political arena atmosphere feels like. It feels like a big game of "you did it, you did it." We got a caller on the line. Let me move over here. 12:30, the source caller. What's on your mind? This is Soapbox Heroes.
Everybody used to this vacation, man.
Everybody used to the vacation. You know what? My thing is this. This was my tactic. Tell me if I took a good approach. While everybody was quarantining, I was at work. So I was working, social distance, keeping our space. And so we were working. And now they're about to let everybody go back to work. I'm about to quarantine. Get away from me.
They wait for Trump to pass the check.
Well, you know what? Do you think that the reason that they're pushing the economy to get back to work so fast is so they could slow down on writing them checks? Because the longer people stay home, the more checks got to get cut. Do you think that's why they're trying to push us out?
Oh, yeah. They can't afford it.
Well, I mean, they can afford it, but they decide where the money flow when the money is flowing up. That's what they can afford to do. They got money. Got money for the wealthy. They got money for the corporations, but they don't got money for you and me. I seen the SBA. They're gonna have some more loans going on. What's going on?
Hey, bro, look here. Check this out. My things on the radio. This is another corner here. This is what they're talking about on the corner. When you see them huddles.
What they talking about on the corner?
I said, when you see them on the corner. But this is another corner here.
Yeah, this is definitely another corner here, and it's another conversation.
Yeah, it's like that's when you see them huddles, they talk about everything. We talk about everything on here.
Yeah, we talk about everything. If we didn't talk about a little bit of everything, what would we be? Oh, we were the conversation.
Yeah, when I listen, when I start hanging on the phone, man, I told my friends, I goes, everybody hold up, hold up, hold up.
Uh-huh.
Like a speaker. I said, forget y'all. I walked off. I walked off. But I said, F y'all.
Yeah, sometimes you gotta say what you gotta say and move on, you know.
Everybody in the huddle like it's a big sticker. I said, forget y'all, man.
Hey, yeah, if they don't want you to know, you shouldn't want to know anyway. Just go figure something else out. There's plenty to figure out.
In the huddle down there now, man.
Hey, are they talking about you in the huddle? They talking bad about you?
I had to get in the huddle. Forget all of y'all.
Oh,
you know,
man.
when they huddle up, man, and everybody want to pass the ball, and you got to be all your emails and all that, you know.
Well, you know what? Yeah, I'm afraid for the huddle because the huddle right now may carry coronavirus, man. So I'm afraid to huddle. You know what I mean? But look, but like my favorite football team do, they huddle up, and when they huddle up, they say, ready, break. Then they go run the play. You ready?
Somebody was down there with a 40 on the 40-yard line with a 40.
On the 40-yard line with a 40. All right, no doubt about it.
Look for first and goal.
Hey, let me ask you a little question before we get into it. We're going to be talking about who didn't take the coronavirus seriously because right now it's becoming a political football. Everybody's pointing fingers. You didn't take it seriously. You didn't take it seriously. Who do you think didn't take it seriously first before we start digging into it? Let me get your answer.
I don't know, brother.
You don't know?
I don't know.
No doubt about it. Well, look, we're gonna dig into it and we gonna figures it out. We gonna figure it out.
I'm on the sideline. Y'all go hold up.
Hey, do you know what? Break. All right, man. All right. Yeah, he say people be in huddles. And he say, you know, we like a huddle. We talk about everything because it's all kind of stuff that gets talked about in these huddles. 12:30 the source. This is Soapbox Heroes. Caller, what's on your mind?
Oh, bro, man, I'm just jamming down and chilling out. But you know, have you ever heard of the Rock Kingdom throne?
Rock Kingdom throne? No, what's the Rock Kingdom throne?
I mean, anybody has been about the Rock. If you don't know, it's well publicized that way back in February, even January, before he was inaugurated, it's well publicized that this fake president was informed by the previous administration that he's so inaccurately.
Yes.
Speculation has nothing to do with reality. And I'm telling you, you have to base all your opinions to have a real good opinion, whether you're right or wrong. At least have the foundation of the information correct.
Okay, I hear you.
And it was well known. It's publicized, rich medium, and all that. That the Obama administration met with him, his representative, for 12 hours, and told him that's why the reason why they had set up the pandemic department to monitor the experts were filled with the best microbiologists, and he dismantled that, which crippled him because it is two things like that. So let's make it just straight up. This man, I use that term loosely.
Okay, now look, now this is what I'm gonna say because you're talking about looking at things through a fair lens. And I'm not saying, you know, how somebody should justify them, but I'm just listening to you. And when you give your no, I'm listening, and I'm gonna hold on. I'm gonna let you definitely keep speaking. But as I'm listening to you, and you're saying, well, this man or this fake president. So what it tends to make, well, I'm not gonna what it tends to make me do is because I noticed it makes me start listening to the rest of your news or the rest of what you say as if it has some sort of biased slant. Because it feels like I don't like this person, so now I'm going to tell you about it. So I would think, just
to do with it.
Okay, go ahead.
It has nothing to do with him.
All right, go ahead.
It has nothing to do with liking him. I'm just saying he has dismantled the presidency of what is originally for to represent the American people, all of them, and not your personal interest. It's obviously he has tried to circumvent the system and send business his to his personal Lago to do state business. You cannot do that. He don't care. He said them rules shouldn't be like that.
Well, look, let me ask you a question, because this is what I notice a lot of time when it comes to Donald Trump. And people keep talking about, well, he can't do this and he's still doing it anyway. And I think that a lot of those things are very fair criticisms. But how come we don't criticize the system in which allows him to get away with it and the people who allow him to get away with it? It's almost like only criticizing him give them a carte blanche free pass to do it again. Because how do we know he's not exercising the will of other people sometimes? Because when people are complicit, why are they so complicit? And so it's like we're giving a pass to complicity by only looking at him. And that's why I wanted to get into everybody who kind of downplayed it, because yes, Obama did set up the pandemic response team, which was already set up, and Obama did give a speech where he talked about things like this coming, but they didn't do much to set up for it either. Donald Trump did a terrible job at responding to it, but I want to know if it was only him who did a terrible job, because it's the president. He has the mantle of commander in chief, so the buck does stop there, but we do have other branches of government who are also supposed to be checks and balances. So we have to look at all of it, man. Go ahead. What's on your mind?
Okay, well, he comes up with circumventing. We already know about the judicial and the executive power, the three branches of the government, but he had circumvented by using his executive powers to shield the truth. Especially when they was talking about calling in witnesses against him when he was doing. The whole world knows that what he did was wrong and he was lying.
Again, my point is this. I hear you. But what about the system and what about the structure that allowed him to do it? Because he did it. It's over. It's done. And so what about the structure that allowed him to do it? We're caught up. So, disillusioned solely by him. He will be gone. He will be gone either this election cycle or another, right?
He's gone like a 40 in 20 minutes.
And so this is my concern. After he's gone, we've left the window open for somebody to jump in that's the same. And look, I'm not even saying it'll be the next president, but we have to remember how election cycles go. So if people get disillusioned with the next president and we still haven't changed those rules, we're leaving that window open for somebody else just like Donald Trump, or maybe even more extreme to the things that you don't like about him, the things that I don't like about him, the things that, that are bad for America, but that window's still open. We're not doing nothing to close that window because we're only talking about the air coming through. Donald Trump is the air coming through the window. We got to talk about closing the doggone window, man.
Let's get realistic. Now, that's the reason why, and what I heard that Joe Biden said, that's really, but I always thought about that. I knew who the perfect vice president candidate was, and he mixed it, and that let them know, and that's messing with Donald Trump. He said that I know she ain't going to do it, but in a heartbeat, I would have Michelle Obama as my vice president. And Donald Trump, I know he had a heart.
Well, see, I read that differently. When he said that and her saying that she knows, she wouldn't do it, and him knowing that she wouldn't do it, I look at that as political calculus, because you're saying what you know a big contingency of people would like to hear. And he said it before South Carolina, and none of those things have been said since. And as a matter of fact, when he had said in that debate that he'd pick an African American as vice president without saying that she had to be qualified, he was just throwing it out. He's saying, well, it might not be an African American woman. You see, and so I look at those as the same. Just, I don't know, man. I look at politics, like you said, you're a political animal, but I think politics is a very vicious game. I think a lot of it is just triangulation and making things look a certain way.
Ask yourself this question.
All right, go ahead.
Now, let's look at it holistically. So, I like your comment. I appreciate that.
And I appreciate you too. And we're gonna get to. Go ahead. I'm gonna give you the last word. I'm gonna answer.
Okay.
Go ahead. You got it.
Let's put it like this here. He did get voted in, and they knew his background with the prostitutes and stuff. And I just say this is another learning incident for America, and we're gonna go forth with our next president, and we're gonna stamp out the traces of racism that he initiated, because he is a racist. I don't care. And we need, and he gonna be gone, and we gonna heal. We will make truly America greater than it ever was with Donald Trump.
All right, I appreciate the call, man. Absolutely, absolutely. And look, I want you to know too. I'm just asking questions so we can further thought too. You know,
I appreciate no. If you talk to a person that calmly and voluntarily and willingly and knowingly what the show is all about, and they should know your IQ and you sharp, then don't call in and test yourself against you, because you will make your stand. And if you do it, don't do it for your family and your wife.
No, they can do it. We're going to have a respectable conversation. I just be wanting to hear. And then, too, I think we arm each other, because you told me some things. You told me some things that I could go out with, they cut.
Yeah, bro, let me tell you. Before you can even begin to comprehend the world around you, you have to adapt to reality. You have to become a good listener first before you can even respond.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I agree with you 100%. All right, man. Thank you for the call. Let me jump over here to the next call.
Shout out if you still live in the doc that used to be over there, the equipment manager for Tech Southern under High Smith. That was my partner there. I used to do it for all of too, and I hope he's still living. I know he listened to you. So shout out to you, Doc.
All right, shout out, Doc. Thanks a lot. I appreciate you. 1230 The Source.
How you doing,
Soapbox Hero. How you doing, brother? How you feeling?
Hey.
How you doing?
People on the phone. I guess get up on another line.
No, go ahead. Come on, straighten me out. I'm ready.
Okay, what I was going to say about Donald Trump is that he already knows his time is running out. He's down to less than 80 days. And so when he go out, there's the Southern District of New York waiting on him.
You know what? I know that Southern District is waiting on him, and you know what? I do believe that's on. I do believe that's on his mind. I do believe that's on his mind. Yeah, and look, they're talking about letting people go back and start working again. Do you think this is strictly economic, and do you think that's a bad decision?
I think it's a stupid decision. See, when you got an invisible enemy. And now you saw, I like what my man Turner is doing. The rest of Turner doing great. He said, look, think about the parachute. Now, we've been doing good, all right? Now, you jumped out the plane with the parachute. Now, you see that, wow, they got me out the plane. I don't need it no more. They let it go. Okay, now that's stupid. Now you're going down without the parachute.
Yeah, the thing that I look overseas in places that were a little more advanced than us when it comes to coronavirus, and they're having reoccurrences of spread. And so now places that kind of loosened up and lax their social distancing laws, or some places they were laws and some places they were suggestions, but they are having to go back into quarantine. And that is something that I do worry about here. And I also worry about, is this something that we just eventually have to test out? Is it something we have to test out? And you're a perfect person to ask. Do you think that we are going back to work with this talking bad about it? What you think?
I think it's the way you do the things you do. And right now we don't have a leader. This is the first time in American history that we don't have a president. And so we kind of we're almost like, a newborn baby ain't got the mama titty.
Well, I would have traded Andrew Jackson too, though. But go ahead if we go put him up for trade.
It's like we ain't. It's almost something like this country always had, was some form of a leader. That would take responsibility for the things he do. And this clown just don't do it. So that's why we need to send him back to the game show, because he's a gamer. Send him back away from the fantasy world. So he's in the fantasy land. Send him back to fantasy land.
All right, look, I'm gonna ask you too. And I see callers blinking. We're gonna get to the callers before break. Let me ask you: do you think that we are giving other politicians a pass when we only focus on Donald Trump? Are we leaving room for another president to jump through the window and do the same things as Donald Trump by only focusing on him?
No, I really don't think so, because I think Donald Trump screwed up so bad that We don't even want nothing that got Trump on it. Not even a Trump card in a deck of cards. We got to throw them away.
Well, see, this is what we have to remember. I think he's polling like 89% in his party. And so when you say we, there are people who do want to see Trump again. And my thing, but look, one more thing. My thing isn't solely about directly after Donald Trump. We're talking politics, so we got to look long term. What about after the next president? Let's say Donald Trump doesn't get elected. Let's say reelected. People who allow him to do these things now will be opening the windows to jump back to do it again.
But who allowed him to do that with the three crazy states, Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Wisconsin? Those are three clowns.
Well, Texas voted for him too. So what do you think? If Texas is what they're considering them on some purple state.
Texas didn't vote for him. It's Republicans in Texas vote for him.
Yo, look at that nuance you threw on there. See, you so sharp. I have a okay, so it's the Republicans in Texas that voted for him, but in those swing states, it wasn't just the Republicans.
Give me the top. Okay, so where we at today on the poll right now, and it ain't kicked off yet, but Biden is up 49%, Trump 42% this week, right now, today.
You know what? And this is my thing. 49 to 42, and that's past the margin of error, right? That's not a big jump, and especially, okay, every single caller so far has said, you know, they explained their dismay for Donald Trump. And I'm not saying that the dismay is unfounded or shouldn't be there. But what I'm saying is we've had 100% of people against him, but we know that the poll you're reading say 42% of people are for him. So my thing is, where's the gap? Where's the gap? There's a gap somewhere, and I think we're missing it.
You'll see that gap in November.
Well, you know what? I just don't want the gap to sneak up and surprise people, hit you on the head, because it's
there. Ain't gonna be no surprise, because this clown, as soon as he opened his mouth, he was already not elected no more.
All right, but again, you say 42%. That's look for somebody who is a terrible president, who so many people have so much dismay for, to still be polling at 42% should be terrifying for the Democrats.
I'm not, because one thing about this country is a democracy, and it's a majority win. And so what they're going to do this time to make sure this clown don't screw up is that they're going to do paper ballots.
Electoral college wins.
Yeah, they're going to have paper ballots to make sure you can have a count for each vote. And they won't be able to rig the electronic thing because, those rigged up those machines. So I'm looking at it like this. We don't want the paper ballot because they're trying to make it right now because of the pandemic. We can vote from our house. And Trump don't want that because he's thinking that, he's going to lose anyway even if you go to the poll. But if you make it more comfortable for the Democrats, they're going to lose.
Well, see, and this is too what I've heard. I've heard some people say at the beginning of this thing, they said, well, Donald Trump wants to keep people indoors through November so they can't vote because he don't want an election. And now he's trying to, it seems like he's rushing people back to work. And it's like, that narrative is starting to change. So I'm noticing the narrative starting to change on what it is. And what I'm saying is, politics change every day. Anything can happen in the blink of an eye.
Like
even these polls are snapshots.
Just like the wind blows.
Just like the wind blows.
Just like the wind blows.
Absolutely. Go ahead. Give me your last word and then we get to the next call.
Okay, I'm going to say, like, they got a record on social media, and I don't even look at social media, but my young lady, my wife had got this record on social media yesterday. It cracked me smooth up. It's called Donald Trump. And they got it on the rim of Dionne Warwick. The moment I wake up, before I put on my orange makeup, I save a little hate for you. That's Donald Trump's song. Well, man, it's going to make a #1 record. They need to put that out there.
I save a little hate for you. Look,
a little hate for you.
And see, but look, I'm telling you, be vigilant, but don't let the hate blind you to miss other things. But be vigilant. But I'm sure, you teach me a lot, so I'm sure that I don't have to, tell you.
I'm very vigilant, bro. You know me.
Yeah, I know.
Okay, one thing I want to tell my Houstonians, keep doing what we're doing. Stay distant. Keep your mask on. Keep your gloves on. And stay at home. See, sometimes you got to wait this thing out. and staying at home, at least you know you are safe and you're not getting this virus. Because when you go around people, even if you stay a distance, they can have it in the air. So you want to be vigilant on that invisible enemy, and we can win this thing by what we're doing right now. Because what Brother Turner said today was that we only had two new cases, and we had no deaths.